what can we do as we do this ghusl and do other things? That if you take a ghusl once a week for Friday, let us say that will be end of that week, we clean. We ask Allah for forgiveness for the sin that we did. And we start fresh every time that we do what? Bring the books before you take the shower and look at it. It says, yeah, that really I need to clean all of that system now. You ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. And you start new. Every time we make wudu, Rasulullah told us the effect of wudu. What is that? The inner dimension of wudu, we can make wudu like this. And then run, you know? And sometimes say, oh, you forget your foot. Oh, no. You know? And sometimes, oh, your face is still some of it. Oh, okay. You know, that kind of things. But let me start with myself, and then I ask you. Inshallah, I promise you I'll try to concentrate on what I do tonight, and from tomorrow, I will do better, inshallah. I will ask Allah to help me. And I would like you to contemplate on this with me. Rasulullah said, every time you make wudu, your sin being cleaned from your hands, from your face, from your feet, from your hair, and so forth. How is that? Because as you make wudu, you have to be conscious of yourself. One of the things that Islam teaches us is to be conscious of yourself, life around you, everything that should remind you of Allah. When you do wudu, let us be mindful. Imam Ghazali, rahimahullah, said something very interesting. He said that the presence of the heart in the time of wudu, it would determine what kind of salah you're going to have. You're going to have the effect on the salah itself. And that's why I'm going to, there's an alim of tabi' called Hatim al-Asam. Hatim al-Asam. Hatim al-Asam is a man that we know that he, you know, have this khushu'. You pray behind him, you can feel the energy come from the mihrab to all the lines. And people said, Hatim al-Asam, what do you do in your tahajjud, in your salah? He said, أتوضأ, I make wudu, ثم أجمع أعضائي. He collect himself. He just take a moment to reflect. What did he just do now? Purification of the body. Then his time for salah, as we're going to talk about the khushu' on salah. And he said, he pray as if Jannah on the right hand, hell left hand, death is coming from the back, and going forward to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, I finished my salah bayna khawfin wa raja, from the fear and the hope. And I don't know after I finish it whether Allah accepted it or not. But it begins with wudu. Rasulullah said, the sin comes from our hands and from our body. Therefore, even he said from beneath our nails. When you make wudu, let us, brother and sister, imagine this. You take your hand, you have the niyyah, the intention, and you say, I'm making this wudu. I would like to prepare myself to stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First, imagine that you're dressing up for an interview. What do you make sure? Your wife, if you were a man, says, your tie is not right. This color is not matching. Your shoes not being polished. You're this and that. Make sure that, you know, that's kind of thing. And you're a sister, you like to make sure your scarf or your dress and so. We make sure that before we go to seeing this human being, that we're really ready to meet. Wudu, it is a to prepare ourselves to stand before Malik al-Muluk, the king of the kings. That's what it is. And when we do that, we need to have qalb hadir. When we wash our hand, we have to remember that what did we do with our hand? What kind of act we did? And ask Allah for forgiveness. Come to the mouth, the purification of the tongue. This is symbolism here. Washing the tongue, and we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to purify our tongue. Then as we do our nose and our face, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our face from hellfire. يحرم وجهنا على النار. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have us be able to see Him in the Day of Judgment. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not to have our eyes commit sins and look to things that we should not be looking at. As we wash our arms and feet and ears and so forth, we ask Allah for protections. when we do that, even as we wipe our head, most of the sin begins here, by the way, the head. You know, very strong, dangerous organ, something called brain, where all the thoughts comes. That from it, as we wiped our hair, our head, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have us be mindful of Him. Can we do this? Maybe after we do this wudu with that very intense feeling, maybe our prayer will be better. Maybe our mindset will be better. Maybe after we say Assalamu alaikum and then we speak to our spouse, we'll be more smiling. As we reach out to someone, we'll be more cheering. As we, approaching life, we'll have better attitude and relaxing. Let us do that. It reminds us of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, let us use the symbolism of water and purifications as we make this wudu to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Lastly, I would like to say about this issue, I don't like to make the class long, and I promised 1 hour of this class actually, and last time I went over time. We would like very much, every time that we do this tahara of the badan, we have to remember the tahara of the heart is more important also. We cannot have wudu, but we standing next to someone in salah, we hate them. We have grudge, we have hasad. We don't like we wish if their clothes chair or the car broke, we wish them ill things. We cannot do that. Therefore, as we do this purification of the body, always you have to be mindful of the purification of the heart.